Hi guys, let me do the audio thingy on my laptop and then we can get started, okay? Hold on. Yep, I'm ready. Let's do this. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel / my podcast. I am the marketing nomad. My name is Prithvi Madhukar. I am a business owner and a digital entrepreneur. A few of the roles that I do take on: I'm a podcaster, YouTuber, Etsy shop owner, Skillshare teacher. I'm also the author of 0 to 4 Figures and Self-Loved as well. All right, welcome to episode 171 of Ask TMN, where we're going to be talking about how to create a marketing plan. Now, this marketing plan can either be for 90 days or it can be for the whole year. What I'm going to be doing with this podeo is I'm going to give you a basic structure that you can use for either a 12-week plan or even a 12-month plan. Okay, so we've got that covered right now. And if you're new here and you're wondering, okay, what's the Ask TMN thing that I just now spoke? Well, Ask TMN is actually a series I have on my YouTube channel as well as my podcast, where I answer questions that solopreneurs may have about marketing, business, as well as mindset. Right? So in this podeo, we're going to be getting into the marketing plan. Now, for me in particular, when I talk to clients regarding their marketing plans, one thing that I've come to understand is the simpler your plan is, especially when you are starting out, the higher chances are of you actually implementing it, of it being executed, and finding your way through the strategy implementation with ease. And so that's why I have this very, very basic structure. And at this point, you may ask me, well, Prit, my business is slightly bigger. Can I still implement this marketing plan? And for that, my answer is yes, absolutely. You may have to detail out each of the 5 steps that I do have for you, depending on the stage of your business. But regardless of which stage you are at, these 5 form the basic steps required in any marketing plan. And of course, I've made the structure so that you can implement it even if it's for a 90-day plan, if it's for a 12-month plan. Of course, accordingly, you will have to make adjustments to each of those 5 basic steps that I do have for you. But overall, the 5 basic steps will give you a great starting point. All right. And I know that if you are starting out as a solopreneur, you may be a little bit nervous when you're hearing all of these words like marketing plan, business plan. All I gotta say is, if you follow the steps that I'm sharing in this episode, over time, you will start to feel more confident about creating much more elaborate marketing plans for yourself. All right. Now I'm smiling at this point because this is a habit that I picked up during my MBA days. Of course, there was so much to study. We had to remember so many things. And it was not more so for the exams, but it was more so like when we were writing research papers or when we were, answering questions, going over case studies. We really needed to have different techniques, strategies at our fingertips, and especially the frameworks that were already existing. And so this is a tiny habit that I picked up during my MBA days, where I would just, pick up the main point of the framework, like each letter of the framework, and I would just create an abbreviation for it. And of course, I know that this is a very common memory mapping technique that is out there, but in particular, it always resonated with me. So for this marketing plan, I also do have my own abbreviation of it. So it's OACAM. 5 simple steps for you, each one with the letter corresponding to it. So let me actually share what each letter stands for so that you can go into the steps knowing the general idea of how this is gonna go. So OACAM, and if you're feeling particularly funny that day, you can call it Oakum. All right, it's all up to you, okay? You would decide how you want to go about it, but for me, I remember it either way. It's OACAM. It's very simple for me to remember, okay? I hope it's simple for you also. So O stands for objectives, A stands for analysis, C stands for channel, A stands for action, M stands for monitor, and we're gonna go through each of these steps in detail right now, okay? So OACAM, 5 simple steps for you. Let's get into step number 1. So step number 1 was O, which was objectives. Now, in this part of the marketing plan, you are going to be outlining your objectives based on the goal that you have. Now, of course, at this point, you may decide that you want to go with the 12-week plan, you want to go with the 1-year plan. Regardless of how you are going about it, what I would suggest is break it down into smaller units that you can actually manage and oversee, and give out goals, one, an overarching goal for the entire time period, and individualistic goals for each of the time periods that you've broken it down into. Let me give you an example. For example, you are going with a 12-month marketing plan. There needs to be an overarching goal for the entire year. All right, something that you want to focus your marketing efforts towards. What is the overarching goal that you have for that particular year regarding your marketing efforts? Now, you are, and I mean, at least I assume you are going to be breaking it into 4 quarters, right? So each quarter also should have its own goal, its own objective that you are working towards, that overall is also going to be working towards the year goal and objective that you are outlining. Now, something that I've written in my notes is the difference between goal and objective. I know that this can be a little bit of a tricky spot for some, so I just wanted to put it out there, clarify. Your goal is usually a very, very broad statement or something that you are working towards. It's broad. Objectives will be a little bit more focused, and it helps if they are SMART, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, and then relevant, as well as time bound. Yes, I had to look because I kind of spaced out a bit over there. But SMART objectives are usually very helpful, and there needs to be specific action items sort of that you are looking into when you are looking at your overall goal, and that's important for you to outline. Not just that, they have to be measurable. You need to have certain KPIs that come out of it so that it can help you with your tracking. It also needs to be achievable. And then R, we said it has to be relevant to your goal. And T, time bound. Like I said, when you're going to be dividing your entire year into manageable time periods for you to see, your objective has to be time bound within those 3 months or within that period of year or 12-week, however you choose to do it. That's on you, okay? The basic skeleton of this marketing plan can be used depending on what you want your time frame to be, but always, whatever time frame you're going with, break it down into smaller, manageable parts or time periods that you can oversee. All right. So basically, your objective would be certain things that can contribute to the goal. What how can you achieve that goal? What action items can you put in place to achieve that goal? So for example, your goal is to be the go-to marketing consultant in the industry for that particular year, 2024. That's the year we're entering into. And so your objective, okay, would be something tangible that can contribute to you achieving the goal. So if you want to be a go-to marketing consultant in your industry, your objective will be maybe increasing your client portfolio by 10% or getting 10 new high-paying clients for that particular year, or 3 for the first quarter, 4 for the next quarter, so on and so forth. So these would be your objectives. How are you going to achieve your goal? Okay, that basically solves the answer for what exactly is going to be your objective. So every time you have a goal for that time period, ask yourself, how am I going to achieve that goal? Those become your objectives. All right? And your objectives, your goal for that entire year, it could be anything or whatever time period you're setting, of course. It could be lead generation. Maybe you have a specific product launch that you want to create a marketing plan for. Maybe you want to increase your marketing, the revenue that you're getting from your marketing efforts, the ROI, so on and so forth. Whatever it is, your goal, it's always important to have your smart objectives that go with that. So that's point number one for you. That's the first step, your objectives. Okay, that's very, very important. And objectives, they have to be smart. All right, they have to be specific, they have to be measurable. The A is achievable, R is relevant, and T is time bound. Okay, so then we come to the second step, which is analysis. Remember, it's OACAM. So the second A is analysis. And of course, this is the whole spectrum. Your target audience, your market, what is your competition doing? What are the resources that you do have access to, the resources that you don't have access to? What are your strengths? What is your business's strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your business's weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are available for your business at this moment that you can take advantage of that could contribute to the success of your marketing campaigns? And then T, this comes under SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what are the potential threats that could hinder the success of your marketing campaign? How are you going to figure those out as they come along, so on and so forth. So it's very important for you to understand each of the different things that are contributing to your marketing campaign, because you are going to build your strategies based on your analysis. So with respect to your target market, getting a deeper understanding of the demographics. What are their preferences? What are their needs? Are their needs being met? What are their wants right now? Is there something different in what they are needing that your competition's not doing that you can actually cater to? It doesn't have to be tangible items. It can also be intangible items, like probably up leveling your customer service, or offering them an incentive, offering them some sort of a promotion, so on and so forth. So those could be different ways that you tackle it. Maybe they really do require it. Maybe they're in that mindset of purchasing because it's towards the end of the year. They're in the mood to spend for their loved ones, so on and so forth. Maybe you could give them a little bit of an incentive so that they move forward with the purchase decision, so on and so forth. That's completely on to you. But it is important for you to take the time to analyze. And not just that, most importantly, especially when you're coming up with any kind of plan, the most important thing for you to understand is what external factors are going to affect your plan. And as much as possible, it helps to understand what are the pieces that are moving and how it can affect you, and what you can do in case something goes wrong, or in case there's an unexpected challenge that comes your way. Of course, you may not be able to prepare for every single thing that could go wrong, but it helps to at least be aware of where the pieces are, what's moving, what could potentially affect your business, what could potentially affect your marketing campaign, so on and so forth. All right. And then another thing that I've written in my notes is, especially when it comes to analysis, this needs to be a little bit more consistent throughout the time period that you've set for yourself. The reason is circumstances could change. Your external factors could change. The mindset of your target audience could actually change overnight. It does happen sometimes. And then there could be something happening in a complementary market that is affecting your market or your industry. So understanding all of that, being aware, constantly analyzing the data that you are receiving. Of course, you've got to first collect data, take the time to collect data, but also analysis of that data needs to happen on a regular basis throughout the time period that you do have. One question that I personally like to ask myself when I'm collecting data for my business, whether it's for a business plan or for a marketing plan, is how is this going to affect my plan? How does this play into the strategy that I am putting forth for myself? All right, so those would be how you basically use your analysis to create action plans for yourself, create strategies for yourself. All right, and we're going to get into the next three, and that's when you're going to realize how this part, the analysis, actually gets into those as well. All right, so that was step 2 for you. Step 2 was analysis. Now, step 3 is channel, C for channel. So in marketing, there are going to be different channels that you wish to put forth your strategies, whether it is SEO, paid advertising, your social media, different social media platforms, or email marketing, so on and so forth. There are so many various channels that are available for you. So when you are creating a marketing plan, it helps to outline which channels are you going to opt for. Not just that, based on the analysis that we did in step 2, you would have figured out, all right, this is where my target audience is going to be more present or more open to spending at this point of the year or at this point of my marketing plan. So I'm going to be more active on this channel, or this is the strategy that I wish to put for this particular channel because my target audience exists on that particular channel at this point in time, so on and so forth. Or they're more receptive to my marketing messages, my marketing communications. They're more receptive to purchasing at this point in time, maybe through emails or maybe on social media, so on and so forth. So that's when your analysis actually comes into play. And like we talked about a little bit earlier, was your competition, right? Understanding which channels are they prevalent on, why are they prevalent on those channels. Do you also have to, I wouldn't say copy, but I would say that if there is a reason why they're on that, like perhaps your target audience is on that, then maybe you can also choose to opt for those channels. Or on the flip side, if they're predominant on one channel, your strategy could be go to another channel and be the only, person or business on that particular channel that is tapping into your audience. Can work both ways. It's all up to you. Like I said, the factors that you determine in your analysis are going to help you make this decision, right? So it could go either way. You can figure out what your competition is not doing and then do that, or what they are doing but you can do it better on which particular channel. So in this step, you're going to outline your channel. You're also going to be outlining the strategies that you can use for that particular channel. So for example, the marketing plan is maybe you want to increase the followers on your LinkedIn page. Okay, you want them to increase followers and you want them to have a higher engagement. So if that's the case, if that's what your marketing plan, the goal of your marketing plan is, then the channel obviously would be LinkedIn, but you would also have secondary channels like maybe your Instagram page, where you're drawing people from your Instagram page to your LinkedIn page, or maybe set up something on your website where, if they came from LinkedIn or if they follow your LinkedIn page, there's some incentive for them, so on and so forth. So there will be the main channel, but there are also going to be secondary channels, and those will be your strategies, right? The content that you're putting up on your LinkedIn or even on your website to lead people to your LinkedIn page, to incentivize them to follow your page, so on and so forth. All of that comes under that. Then your posting schedule, the frequency, what is this, industry norm? What is the expectation that your audience has, and how can you keep consistently providing good quality content? Then, managing your engagement, managing your interactions on your LinkedIn page with your existing followers. Maybe put in a strategy over there so that if people refer someone else and they follow your LinkedIn page or they buy a product from you, so on and so forth, they have some sort of an incentive there for them. That could also work. That could be part of the strategies in that particular channel. You could also have collaborations and partnerships work towards that, so on and so forth. So in step number 3, where you are focusing on the channel, what you're essentially doing is you're figuring out where you want to put your strategies and what your strategies are going to be. Very simply put, this is what step 3 entails, okay? Then we go to step number 4, which is the second A, and that is action. So in the third step, we have the channel, we've got all of the strategies in place, but now in your action item, basically the bottom line of what you're doing is you're putting dates to the strategies that you have in place. You are giving yourself a timeline that I'm going to implement this strategy on these days, this time period, so on and so forth. So the way that I see it, the second A, that is OACAM, the A action is just about assigning dates to the strategies that you've got in place based on the channel that you figured out for yourself, and also based on the analysis that you've done previously as well. All right, so it's very simple. If yours is a 90-day marketing plan, then it would be, okay, what are you going to do in week 1, week 2, week 3, so on and so forth? Which strategy are you going to implement for what? And sometimes to implement a strategy, you're going to need, like, maybe certain things have to be completed before you can implement a strategy, so on and so forth. So just outlining that. For me in particular, I just like to look at a calendar, the calendar month that you get, and just slowly start slotting in the days. That has helped me a lot. And you can also do that too. Of course, if it's a 90-day, then, taking a whole spread of 90 days and then just chalking it out, where I think you have to also be very realistic when you are setting out the schedule for your action plan. All right, so it could be you have the entire year, you've broken it down into quarters. What are you going to do in each of those weeks? That could be one, your content schedule, all of that, assigning dates, assigning resources, everything comes under your action plan. How are you going to convert whatever you've written out for yourself into actionable steps? How are you going to make that transition? So that comes under action. And of course, it also involves implementing it and, figuring things out as you go, because sometimes that also happens. So up until C is mostly like planning and, piece of paper and pen, I guess I would say. But the fourth step is more about, yes, assigning dates, but also working through it as well. The action part of it. All right. Then we come to the fifth step, which is monitor. M for monitor, okay? OACAM. I'm going to repeat it again because I just want you to, remember it on recall. So OACAM, the last step is M, monitor. You have to monitor your results based on the analysis that you've done, based on the channels, the strategies, the objectives that you've set for yourself. You would have also created certain key performance indicators to help you determine whether or not your campaign is a success, whether or not it is working or not. And I think monitoring it is a very, very crucial step. And I see a lot of people missing out on this step. Like up until action, it happens, you put it all on paper and then you put it in action. But the monitoring part, the analyzing of what's happening as the campaign is going on, I seem to find that missing in some of the case studies that I've seen with respect to my clients, and as well as, other entrepreneurs and solopreneurs that I have seen as well. So monitoring is very, very important, because your strategy could be perfect on paper, but as you are implementing it, you will have to pivot. It's just how strategies are, And the more you can pivot a strategy, I believe that that's how you can create a successful campaign. The pivoting is a very, very important part of the strategy itself. Because like I said, it could look great on paper, but as you're implementing it, as more factors that you probably would not have envisioned, or maybe new things come to light, or maybe it just didn't work the way that you thought it would, and you have to pivot it a little bit. You have to shift things a little bit. I think that happens only when you are on ground, when you are actually going through the process of implementing that strategy. So for me, there is no shame in pivoting. I think it's actually an essential part of implementing strategies. I think pivoting is an important step. All right. I mean, I know that when I first started out and I was implementing strategies, of course, you read all of this in MBA. When you're doing your MBA, you read case studies of people pivoting. But at the back of my mind, it was always like, okay, well, shouldn't it be picture perfect because I've read it from this case study. I've seen it, happen with this person, but the reality is a lot different. Reality is that your strategies will need pivoting, and there's no shame in that, and you just have to constantly monitor what's happening with your campaigns so that you can pivot your strategies accordingly. And to me, that actually contributes to a successful marketing campaign, or an even more successful marketing campaign if you found that you just implemented it and you just didn't look into it and it was still a success. For me, I think there's always room for better, and I think that pivoting really helps to give that extra bit of customization for your strategies. One other tip that I do have for you at this point is, especially when you are going in with your KPIs or your metrics, right? It helps to have a range that you would perceive as success. So it's not just one number, like I have to hit 5 likes. Now give yourself a range, and you can make it like good, better, best. So give yourself a range. That way you know exactly where you're sitting with respect to your results. I think just having one number, to me, it doesn't really give you that much of an accurate standing of where you are at. Whereas if you have a range, at least you know where you're hitting, whether you're good and there's space for improvement, or you're better, or you are at peak levels of what you anticipated. I think it's just additional information that you can give yourself. So that's just a little bit of a pro tip that I'll give you on the side. Have a range, have it as good, better, and best. And as you are monitoring your results, see where your campaign is slotting into that range that you've set for yourself. All right. So I'm just looking down at my notes, and I think we've actually covered pretty much every single thing. I'm actually quite happy we did quite a good job today. So hold on, I'm running out of time slot on my camera. Give me a second, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So one thing that I've written over here is everything, like each of the 5 steps that I've told you, they all need to tie up together. They may be 5 individual steps, but your objectives kind of seep into your analysis. Your analysis does seep into your channels. Like, you've got to use information in each of those 5, interlink them, and constantly keep reevaluating your strategies. I think that is what contributes also to the success of a strategy, where you can interlink these 5 steps that I do have for you. And at every point, when you're taking action, always ask yourself, is this contributing to the overall goal that I have for the time period that I've set for myself? That is also a great way for you to know, all right, am I doing something right? Am I not doing something right? Is this aligned to the goal that I've set? Is this actually going to be helping my marketing campaign? So on and so forth, all right? So that brings me to the end of the 5 steps. I'm going to repeat the 5 steps again. OACAM. O, objectives. A, analysis. C, channel. A, action. M, monitor. All right. So in the objectives, you're going to figure out the objectives. Very, very simple. The goal that you have, the objectives for the time period. It helps to break it down into manageable time periods. Then the second A is your analysis. So you're going to figure out your target market, your demographics, your audience, and then their preferences, your competition, your industry, so on and so forth. And you are going to see how can those factors contribute to the strategies that you are going to be putting in place in the next step. Third step is C, channel. So in this, you're going to figure out the channels that you are going to implement your strategies. You're going to use the information that you have collected in your analysis stage, and you are going to create strategies for the entire marketing campaign. Then we come to the 4th step, which is another A. This is action, where every single thing that you put onto piece of the paper, I guess I would say, yes. Yeah, you're gonna first allocate dates to it, you're gonna schedule it out, and you are actually going to take action. action. And then we come to the fifth and final step, which is monitoring. This is going to be throughout the campaign, throughout the entire plan time period that you've set for yourself. You have to monitor it. It helps if you give yourself a range, good, better, best for your results, and keep tweaking, keep pivoting your strategies, and at the end of it, analyze your results. All right. A few points that I've written over here is, one we talked about, break it down into manageable chunks of time. That's when you can actually figure out if you're staying on track to the bigger goal that you have in place for yourself. The second thing that I've written in my notes, just as a conclusion, is you've got to be flexible, okay? Watch for changes in the market trends. Watch for unexpected challenges. Watch for differences or changes in the mindset of your audience, so on and so forth, and pivot your strategy accordingly. It helps to be flexible. But on the flip side, and this is the third point that I do have for you, give time for your results to show, okay? Don't be too quick to pivot. That also, there's a little bit of a balancing act that you have to do over here, where you don't pivot too quickly before you can actually see results, but at the same time, you don't pivot too late as well. There's a delicate spot that you've got to find. So what I would do at this point, just as a pro tip, would be to give yourself like a set time where you wait until that time period is over before you make any pivoting decisions. So for example, in that particular year, maybe you wait for, I guess I would say 10 weeks or 12 weeks before you can pivot, or before you make a decision whether or not that strategy is working for you. And this is just an example. You can choose time periods that are suitable for you. It of course depends on a lot of things. And of course, if this is the part where you're stuck at any given point, you can always hire a marketing consultant. Wink, wink, hint, me. All right. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. You've got to find the right balance, and that's when an expert comes in to help. But if you're starting out, I'm pretty sure that you will be able to figure it out. I mean, you've started a business, you're doing well. Yeah, it takes a little bit of experience, I guess I would say, but at the same time, as the more informed you are, like the better your analysis stages, the better you can, the more information you have to make better decisions for your business. This is what I would say, and this is how I would put it. All right. So that wraps up this entire podeo for you. If you liked this podeo, please do give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscription bell, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a new video. Other than that, if you want to catch my books, my first book is 0 to 4 Figures, Lessons Learned by a Broke CEO. It's got 61 stories and lessons from the first 3 years of my entrepreneurial journey. It's got topics related to self-love, relationships, marketing strategy, business strategy, growth mindset, success mindset. What else? Even relationships as well. I think I mentioned that. I don't know, but we're just going to move past that, okay? So that is available on Amazon. And then my second book is Self-Love. It is a compilation of 1,000 journal prompts related to healing, growth, and self-discovery. It covers different topics like manifestation, self-reflection, daily gratitude, inner child healing, shadow work, trauma healing, so on and so forth. That too is available on Amazon. Other than that, I have a series of productivity planners, journals, and trackers available on Amazon. It's called the Simple Series by The Marketing Nomad. At the moment of publishing this podeo, there are 18 of them available, ranging from 5-day workweek planner to 1-page project planner, time tracking and time blocking planner, so on and so forth. So if you are interested to catch any of my items on Amazon, the simplest way is to just search for my name. It's Prithvi space Madhukar. So the minute you search my name on Amazon, you'll get an author page for me, and then all of my stuff will be available over there. Of course, if you have any questions that you'd like me to cover in an Ask TMN episode, please feel free to ask your questions in the comment box below. If you have any questions related to this episode, yes, please feel free to post those questions in the comment box, and I'll get to it when I can. Other than that, if you want to chat with me, so on and so forth, you can catch me on my Instagram page. It's at the Marketing Nomad. All right, that brings me to the end of this podeo. Thank you so much for listening all the way up until here. Good luck with your marketing plan. You are going to do amazing. All right, catch you in my next podeo. Bye-bye.